don't know how long that's been there, but it's a TP type, and I know it's probably hard to see because it's all camouflaged pretty well. It's just the frame. There it is. Looks like somebody was going to use these posts as part of the frame and maybe change their mind. In survival, you have assets and liabilities. This here is a little bit of both. It's a good framed shelter. Throw some vegetation around it, put yourself a fire, and you can heat up rocks, lay some vegetation down on the ground, and bring the hot rocks in after you get done insulating this thing. Problem is, and the liability, is that it's awfully small. You're not going to be able to lay down in here. You'll have to kind of make it through the night. It gets really cold here. This is not the type of shelter you want to use long term, 2 or 3 nights maybe. But if you're going to be out here that long, then you can always expand it or add on to it. But so this, again, it's a little bit of a liability and an asset. So today I've got my walking spear open. I keep hearing things rustling around the bushes. Hope nothing comes up behind me. Normally, if you watch most of my videos, I've got thick vegetation behind me, so I don't really have to worry about anything jumping out. But everything that I'm hearing is behind the cameras anyway. So the last time you saw my walking spear, it had 1 blade. I've graduated to 2. So it's just a precaution to avoid potential hazards. So I dress the way I dress. I carry the gear that I carry and the way that I carry it, because I've been doing this outdoor stuff an awful long time. And I don't necessarily always wear black. It depends on the environment and the weather conditions. It's a good black clothes day to suck in that heat and to be a little bit warmer. Plus, I still have a cold, so I might cough a couple of times while I'm making this video. But if you're one of these people, you're going to go out there and do all this stuff because what you've seen on TV, I have 2 requests. And the first one is, keep your ass away from me. And the second one is, just keep going. Take your pancakes and you just keep going. If you make it back out, you might take an extra knife. Go out again. When you come back, you might take 2 extra knives and some paracord. You go back out and you come back in. You might start wearing knee pads. You see where I'm going with this? It's being out there and knowing exactly what's out there, having to deal with exactly what's going on out there. And when you're out there on your own, make a little list. I always tell people, carry an all-weather notepad and a pencil so you can make your own maps as you go. And you can keep a list of the little things that you need to take with you. This here is a little steel flask, and in this flask I carry what's called naphtha. And basically I just take a stick and dip it in there. It's all covered with naphtha. I keep it in a steel container so this won't break open or get all over my clothes. Take my torch lighter. And there you go. I can start a fire, put this underneath my little kindling, and it's fire away. Takes a few seconds. So torch lighters, some type of fuel to get the fire going, and you should just never have a problem. It beats the hell out of rubbing sticks together. The will to survive simply means intending to do something and wishing something would happen. I wished I'd find water. Well, I intend to find water. That's all crap. You have to be determined to find water. You have to be determined to keep moving. I just had this huge hawk fly over my head, and I didn't get a chance to video it. In fact, I got this camera here. I keep this camera when it's windy as my microphone. It's a very, very active day today. That's why I'm hearing stuff in the bushes. I've got these hawks. Very active day. fact, I'm going to, excuse me 1 second while I grab another camera. Cameras I prefer to use when I'm even right now videoing, a little point and shoots. And the reason for that is they're small, very lightweight, and they're flat. I love small, lightweight, flat equipment. If ever I had a moment of the will to survive, was when I run across something unusual or beautiful outdoors. Then I wished I would have found it sooner, or I wished I would have taken this trail before. That's the will to survive. Wishing, 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 the intent. So that's my take on the will to survive, and you might want to consider who's saying that as opposed to what it's really worth. Anyway, it's usually people that use quotes of popularity that also say fight or flight. They don't really get to that third one. That third one is play dead. You got a bear on top of you, you're going to fight this bear, it's going to kick your ass. You got a bear on top of you and you're going to try to run away, it's going to kick your ass. Best thing to do is lay there and, oh, I don't know, play dead. There's that third one that very seldom gets mentioned. When I'm out in areas like this, forests, mountains, not so much the desert, but the forests and mountains, I'll walk about 50 feet, stop and listen. Animals, they'll eat, raise up, stop and listen, eat. They're always popping back up to listen what the hell's going on. You have to do that because you don't know if something's shadowing you. Something could be following you. And try to keep your ears out of the wind. If you need to, you can just kind of cup your ears so you've always got a way of being able to hear everything that's going on around you. A team is only as strong as its weakest player. And when you're planning on coming out to an area like this by yourself and staying for 3 or 4 or 5 days, you have to figure out what your weakest attribute is and overcome that. You might be afraid of the dark. You know, you might get cold easier than somebody else. You might get a sunburn easier than somebody else. You might be allergic to bee venom. And if you're allergic to bee venom, then you're probably going to be allergic to ants and wasps and everything else. So you're only as strong as your weakest attribute. You got to figure out what that is and overcome it. I was out here a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a video about my gear and I had it all laid out on a tarp, and I didn't like the way the video came out, so I'm going to splice some of that in with this video here today.